If I ask you what gives you joy, what gives you pleasure in life, there's a good chance that these might be words associated with our fifth house. Welcome to my channel, Dancing Astrologer. I'm Charlotte Westerheim, and today I'm going to talk about the fifth house and our self-expression and creativity. If you think about the natural horoscope, we have first house starting with the ascendant sign. We think about the first house as a way of expressing ourselves. This is the ascending sign. This is what people see when they meet us. This is our kind of business card or introduction of who we are and how we appear. And for a lot of people, this is a house, the first house is where we really enjoy expressing who we are and where it's very natural to express ourselves. So it's funny to think about in the natural horoscope, the fifth house is in a trine. That means supportive aspect to the first house. And it's associated with Leo in the natural horoscope, and is ruled by the sun, of course. So again, there's association here between the first and the fifth house and how we express our own unique self, especially when it comes to creativity. So when we think about the fifth house, some of the words that fall in under that category is, of course, joy, pleasure, gambling, having fun, children and being playful, even, children, also our inner child, how we connect with our inner child. And it's also associated with a lot of creative pursuits like drama, acting, modeling, painting, music, and so on and so on. And these are a variety of excellent creative expressions of who we are. So it's kind of interesting to see that the fifth house is so much more than just hobbies and children. It really comes down to a big part of our joy and our liveliness and our energy is coming from that fifth house and how well we are living out that part of ourselves. And so it's more than just having a hobby. It's sometimes something that is so essential to our core and our identity and how we can feel that we are different from somebody else. There's something inside of us that wants to be expressed. And of course, depending on which sign you have in your own birth chart or on your fifth house, it will be different variations of that. But it's really important to think about how well are you expressing your fifth house. Is your fifth house happy? Is there something missing? Sometimes we focus on career or we focus on things we need to do in life, but we sometimes put the joy to the side, and that's something we do over the weekend. But for many people, being in touch with and express their fifth house creativity is so important, is part of the day-to-day well-being. And so I thought it would be interesting to perhaps go through now from each of the signs, wherever your fifth house falls in your chart, and see if you can relate to some of the pursuits that are associated with a self-expression for that particular one. So let's see if I can share my screen. If you have Aries in your fifth house, so then you have the ruler is Mars, the quality is cardinal, is fire. It's a very outgoing, energetic kind of self-expression. And when Aries on the fifth house, it is most authentic. It needs bold action. It needs spontaneity. It needs to not be tied down to anything conforming. It needs to be able to express freely that fiery energy it has inside. And some of the typical creative pursuits that Aries can enjoy doing is athletics, especially when you're winning. It's something about winning, competition. Oh, they love that. A little bit of daredevilish stuff as well. Parachuting, that's more like, of course, sport things, but something where there's a little element of danger involved. They like to start projects as well, and especially if there is some sort of performance where they can either win or achieve something, that will be a really joyful thing for Aries fifth house. Taurus fifth house is a different quality. It's ruled by Venus. So, and the quality is more fixed earth. So here you might see somebody really enjoying creating a garden, beautiful garden, pottering around in the garden. It will make them feel, you know, that they're creating something beautiful in their surroundings that they get to enjoy. And this calmness will, you know, filter through to them needing to feel close to earth and to feel connected with nature, basically. And here they can play around with colors because this is Venus. So Venus is ruling the sign. They can play around with colors. They can, with textures, with combination. This will be like a field of creative explosion in their garden. Another thing that I've noticed with Taurus on the fifth house, because it's ruled by Venus, you have often, you know, people have a good singing voice, of course, depending on where Venus is placed in the chart. Good singing voice. They have a musical talent, perhaps. They might be good at painting, again, something expressive with colors and abstract. And even culinary arts, you know, because this is about sensual, it's a sensual sign, Taurus. They like to taste, feel, and see things that is pleasant and enjoyable to the eye. So here we have Gemini on the fifth house. Then the ruler is Mercury. It's mutable air. So what is really fun for Gemini fifth house is, of course, communication, which is the big word, but also I'm thinking here comedy, and entertainment. Of course, it's film, it's play, and there needs to be some sort of variation in communication and curiosity where they can still learn something but having fun at the same time. So finding a topic that you really enjoy, get into it and get good at it and be able to express yourself. Maybe you want to join like debate group, some communities that are involved with something that you feel passionate about, and this might be your time to shine, to present something, or to really go out there and fight for a cause that you enjoy being part of, and also doing some good in your community, because this is, you know, Gemini, they like to be involved in community and in their surroundings. So here you could do something about writing, of course, writing, storytelling, anything with communication, poetry. You could write comedy. You could be involved with social media, you know, maybe do some podcasting, anything where you reach out to other people and create a connection with other people, sharing ideas, and just get to tell your own stories and hear other people's stories and be, you know, entertained by that, and learning new things, learning new perspectives. That is a great areas for Gemini. For Cancer on the fifth house, your ruler is the moon. Cardinal water is the quality. So here you need to feel connected with your moon. You need to feel emotional. That this is, you know, your enjoyment comes from feeling emotionally connected to whatever creativity you choose to be involved with. It could be cooking, of course. Cancer, fifth house, love to explore new recipes. Maybe you want to make your own cookbook. Maybe you get involved with a cooking show on TV. Maybe you work in the hotel business where you get to work with other chefs, and, you know, you get to explore new recipes and so on, and create, you know, a whole emotional experience from delicious food. There's also other things that has to do with the fifth house of Cancer, which has to do with, they love to go back to the heritage, where we come from, the family background, traditions in the family, and go and search for that, to, you know, connect with that identity, where you come from, maybe writing about it, maybe, you know, do something that that people remember, you know, the different generations and what different generations have been through in order to connect with that different identities. So here we have, and of course with Cancer fifth house, there's also the whole thing of of doing some communal work, maybe some charity where you bring people together, or do something with kids, creating a fun place for kids where they can get together. And this is very much Cancer related fifth house as well. Leo fifth house, the ruler is the sun. This is a natural house for the fifth house to have Leo on the cusp here. It's fixed fire in quality, and of course Leo fifth, they love to shine. They need to be visible. They need a bit of joy and drama and presentation, comedy, entertainment, whatever lifts up the day-to-day life. That will be Leo on your fifth. Leo are very often involved with acting, singing, dance, fashion, some sort of performance on stage where the big light is right on them and they get to shine in their own unique way, being and doing what the Leos do best, which is creating and making people feel and, connect with something. So here we have Virgo in the fifth house. That's ruled by Mercury. The quality is mutable, Earth. And what is to say about Virgo is it's also very creative, because very often it's different than the Leo. It's different because they don't need to maybe perform and have the view on them, but they like to be able to create through craftsmanship and to build something with the hands, something that it takes time to actually be able to do in a very beautiful way, but it's a craft that they're willing to put time and effort into in order to create something very, very unique. And I saw somebody who would actually, build instrument like violins and stuff, and it was absolutely artwork. How attention to every detail, which is such a Virgo thing to do. It was absolutely such a meaningful creation for them, because it was an instrument to be used and for playing music. But in order to do that, there has to be a craftsmanship and the whole detail of the creation of the actual instrument. It's something that Virgo is very good at, because they're patient, they are willing to take that look at the detail in order to get it perfect. That is the word. Of course, Virgo fifth house also would be interested in anything to do with wellness and health. So you can get into, writing about health and herbalism, things that are good for our body and well-being. And people very often get into that after they have found something that really speaks to them. So it becomes very personal when they share it. Virgo fifth house also interest in design. And because design is also something where you can, architecture, but also furniture design or other forms of design where you spend time on the detail and you spend time on the craftsmanship of that creation. So let's go to Libra fifth house, again, a sign ruled by Venus, a cardinal air here. And so Libra, of course, any Venus rule sign, of course, like Taurus, they need beauty around them. They need to create something that is pleasant to the eyes, to the experience, to the tasters, to the smell, anything. So here you could have somebody would get into making perfume or scented candles, for example, to enhance your environment and to have gifts for other people. There's elegance around fashion, especially, because Libra is known to be a social sign that love to interact and mingle in social settings, and way of expressing their creativity is often through fashion. They follow fashion and they know what's going on. They find their own unique style, and the whole way they dress is their own creative outlet. So that is fascinating to see when I see friends or clients who are into the fashion aspect, and you just see they come in and it's a work of art, how they put everything together so elegantly. They also like design, and they like to be involved with aesthetic projects. Anything that enhance our environment, our own beauty, and so on would be appealing to a Libra fifth house. Scorpio fifth house, ruled by Mars, quality is fixed water. So what always is appealing to Scorpio is the way that they can transform something. They can take something that is something and it is created into something completely different. Very often it's their own feelings, their own personal journey, but this can be translated into many different types of art expressions. It could be even writing about psychological processes. It could be emotional art, sensual art, photography, where you take a picture and you use that to speak in like metaphors, or like it's a symbolism of some form of transformation, so that you connect through unspoken words, but through art and visuals you connect with that whole transformative process. So Scorpio also like the writing, not just mystery writing, but also like crime and anything that's entertaining and goes a bit deep and maybe a bit dark somehow. And they can also be really much into the healing arts. And here I'm thinking again, referring to psychological and emotional art that can have some impact, where you help others through sharing some of your own experiences. We have Sagittarius on the 5th house, ruled by Jupiter. Mutable fire is a quality. So Sagittarius in the 5th house, they love freedom. They love to have adventure. So trying new things. It can be through, of course, travel, but it's also trying new things. A bit like Aries as well, where you want to maybe do skydiving, or you want to try something that maybe has a little bit of like Aries want the danger element, but Sagittarius want a bit the adventure element. Okay, let's go and try and ski on the glacier, or let's do, whatever it is that is appealing to them, because it's different and adventurous, and is a way of getting that fire, that fiery, joyful sensation inside of them. They love, for example, to travel and blogging, and people can follow them, and that way they connect with people back home while they are out there as the one exploring and experiencing firsthand, and then sharing it with others. They also love teaching as a way of self-expression, and often in a very entertaining way, very lively way. They can get into filmmaking, or anything to do with the outdoors will give them joy and pleasure. So Capricorn in the 5th house, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and it's cardinal earth as a quality. And of course, Capricorn they always search for authentic expressions. So whatever they get into, they will want to be doing it perfect, and they want to master it, a bit like Virgo. And so some of the creative pursuits they might get into is the long-term projects, where they fine-tune their knowledge and their knowing and their craft, and they build long-term projects, for example, buildings or anything that takes a bit longer time, but will stand the test of time, because that's very much in the Capricorn radar, is to leave a legacy and make a difference. And they know a quick pursuit will not last for long, so they know if they want to make an impact, it has to be something that is standing the test of time and can be used and enjoyed by others, and sometimes for generations. Finally, we have the two Aquarius here. They're on the 5th house. It's ruled by Saturn as the traditional ruler, and Uranus as the modern ruler, is fixed air. So Aquarius love to be creative when it comes to technology, futuristic art, and they love to find ways of combining being involved with different communities and how people connect with each other through technology, and how using technology in different forms of communication, and They can get involved with various avant-garde project or activism where they use their strong beliefs about something to get this to get the message across through using technology and futuristic elements. This is a way of expressing their own uniqueness and also to liberate themselves from, anything that holds them back. That way they can really get their own uniqueness expressed through various technology projects. Here we have finally Pisces on the 5th house, and this is ruled, of course, by Jupiter as the traditional ruler and Neptune as the modern ruler. And of course, when we think about Pisces, we think about music, poetry, and spiritual art. We also think about film in the way that how a film can transport us into a completely different universe. We can be there, and we can almost be that person while we are watching. This is what Pisces is so good at. They are good at transporting us into a different reality. And this is what they're really good at. So if you have Pisces on your 5th house, you might be involved with writing poetry. You might be involved with creating film or different parallel universes. You might be writing about them, fantasy, or you might be also enjoying very much doing healing things and being into spiritual medium or something. And the main thing is you get to have that flow from the Pisces where you are connected with something bigger than yourself, and that's an expression of your uniqueness in that tapestry, but you are still feeling you're part of a larger spiritual world or sensation. So this is a little bit about how how the 5th house can be expressed depending on what kind of sign you have on your 5th house. So it really is interesting if you take a look at your ascending sign and your 5th house and your sun sign and see what kind of correlation between the three. So our sun sign is very much our core identity, our inner identity, what we are here to learn and develop in the way that we attract certain experiences to develop our sun sign to be the best version of ourselves. And sometimes some of those challenges we attract or experiences we attract, they can be, it's for growth, it's for like understanding, it's for maturity, and that's great, and that's well, and that's very, very essential to our core identity. But I often think about the 5th house, it falls in line with the 1st house where we have our ascending sign, which is how we do things according to the energy coming from our ascending sign. And then the 5th sign is really the way I've noticed it with clients, with friends, with family. Our 5th house very often becomes that place where we find the enjoyment. It's like our inner child is activated, and I don't mean that in a way where it's not serious work we get to do, because people live of art and it's a serious profession for them. But it's very often also completely connected with how much we feel alive and how much we enjoy life if we're able to tap into that rich energy within us of creativity and spark, where we share something of us uniquely with the world. So go home, please, if you want, and have a look at your chart to see what sign is on the cusp of your 5th house, and where is the ruler, to give a little bit more information about how you enjoy expressing your creativity. And let me know in the comments if any of this relates to you, or if you are discovering maybe perhaps some hidden talents that you were not using, or you think, hey, I might want to try this. And if you want a personal reading with me, you can find me on dancingastrologer.com and book a session with me, and I'd be happy to look at your creative 5th house to see if you are really living it out to its full potential. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining, and I see you next time.